Hi everyone, how are you today? I hope all of you in a good condition right now. Today, we are going to continue our learn about derived quantities. Alright, in the previous lessons, we have learned that there are two types of physical quantities, the base quantities and derived quantities. And we also learned that base quantity is a quantity that cannot be defined in other physical quantities. As you know that there are 7 base quantities: length, mass, time, temperature, electric current, amount of substance, and luminous intensity. That's what we learned before, right? So now in this lessons, let's continue with derived quantities. If I talk about area, you know that area is a measurement of the size of a surface. You calculate it by multiplying the length by the width. But from this example, my question is width the base quantity or derived quantity? What do you think? Yes, that's correct. It's a base quantity. Okay, because width actually is measure of length, and length is a base quantity. Now, both length and width are base quantities. So, what about area? Okay, we can say area is derived from length and width, right? So area is called the derived quantity. So we can say that for the quantity which derived from the base quantity, we call this derived quantity. In other words, combining base quantities, we are getting derived quantities. Okay, another example. Speed of car is 30 km per hour. So here, we can say speed not present in the list of base quantities. Where it comes from? So I can say speed is equal to distance divided by time. So distance and time, it is present in the list of base quantities because distance actually is a measure of length and length is a base quantity. So from these two examples, we can understanding that multiplying and dividing the base quantities, we are getting derived quantities, right? Like area, speed, volume, velocity, etc. So what are derived quantities? Derived quantities are the quantities which derive from the base quantities through multiplication or divisions. Now, let's talk about how to get derived units. To get derived units, we can use some steps. The first step, write the formula of derived quantity. Let's make an example. In the previous slide, we know that the speed is derived quantity, so now we want to find out the unit of speed. So as we know that speed is equals to distance divided by time. So the first step is done. The second step, find the base quantity present in the formula. So here, in this case, we have two base quantity. The distance is base quantity and time is base quantity. Now the third step, write units of base quantity present in the formula. So the base unit of distance is meter and the base unit of time second. Okay, the last step. The acquired unit of the systematic equation gives the unit of derived quantity. Artinya, satuan yang kita peroleh dari persamaan sistematis tersebut adalah satuan besaran turunannya. So we can see that from here, the units of speed is meter per second. Alright, now let's talk about measuring the derived quantities. Derived quantities can be measured directly and indirectly. For example, when we want to measure the volume of irregularly shaped objects such as log, wood, and stone, we can measure it directly. How it can be? So let's take a look. First, measure the volume of water in a graduated cylinder or measuring cylinder. Pertama, ukur volume air di dalam gelas ukur. And then submerge the object. Dan kemudian celupkan objek tersebut. After that, measure the final volume of the water. The difference between the initial volume and the final volume is the volume of the object. In this case, we use a stone as the object. If we can see that, the initial volume is 50 milliliters. Dropping the stone in the graduate cylinder causes the water level to rise. The final volume is 75 milliliters. So, to figure out the volume displaced, the formula is the volume displaced equals to final volume minus initial volume. Therefore, 75 milliliters minus 50 milliliters equals to 25 milliliters. So the volume of the stone is 25 milliliters. Alright, now to measure the volume of regularly shaped objects such as a cube, cuboid, and sphere, we can measure it indirectly by using a formula. First, to find out the volume of cuboid, we can calculate it with volume of cuboid equals to length times width times height. And then to find out the volume of cube, we can calculate it with volume of cube equals to S cube, where S is length of the side. And to find out the volume of sphere, we can calculate it with volume of sphere equals to 4 over 3 pi r cubed, where r is radius. Alright, so that's all about derived quantities, and I think that's enough for today. Thank you for your attention. God bless you.